What's going on, everybody? How's everyone doing? I hope you all have a good day. I hope y'all had a good week so far. It's your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. Today is Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. Okay? And today's subject is going to be about Larry Donnell, Donnie Andrews, and the show Wire. Now, you may wonder why I combine these two together. There's a reason why. Because the show Wire, the character Omar, which was played by the late Michael K. Williams, was inspired by the story of Larry Donnie Andrews. So he went by Donnie Andrews. So it was inspired by his story. And the setting of the show took place in Baltimore. Now, Baltimore is a pretty rough city. It's pretty rough. And there's a lot of crime rates taking place in Baltimore. So a lot of the things that was going on during that time in Baltimore, right? It was incorporated in that show. So what I'm saying is The Wire is a reflection of what it's like growing up in the urban community, what it's like growing up in the ghetto, being around those who are involved in the street life, growing up in the projects, okay, and just trying to make a way out of no way, basically. So I'm gonna get into talking about Omar, the character, but I want to start off talking about who Donnie Andrews is first. All right. What's going on, bro? Centavo P, shout out to you. Thank you for coming through. Shout out to Centavo coming through, coming through. Yes, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Yes, 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 yes. All right. So let's go ahead and let's talk about this individual here. Okay. So now, as you see at that far corner on the left, the gentleman with the glasses, that's Donnie Andrews. All right, so I want to get into that discussion about him. So Donnie Andrews was an American armed robber, murderer, and anti-crime advocate. He was one of the inspirations for the character Omar Little on the HBO series The Wire. So he grew up in a housing project in West Baltimore, Maryland. He was physically abused by his mother. At the age of 9, he witnessed a man being beaten to death over 15 cents. Let's stop right there. That is very triggering for a child to witness someone getting beaten to death for 15 cents. Now, you may think 15 cents ain't nothing. Yeah, of course it ain't nothing. But if you owe money and you owe all of it, a person gonna want all of it. So, and that's what tends to happen. So in his case, he witnessed a man getting beat up and losing his life over a, a small amount of money that don't really mean much. Now that right there that's a childhood trauma. So imagine how he had to carry that over into his adult life. And just imagine. And I know many of you may heard story from various people saying when they grew up in the projects, grew up in the hood, they done seen a lot of shit going on. They done seen people get beat up. They done seen people get stabbed multiple times. People get their face cut. Um, People done got shot. I mean, we done heard stories. I done heard stories about it. Now, by me growing up in the hood myself, because I done grew up in the hood, I done lived in the projects, I am fortunate that I didn't witness anybody get murdered. Now, I done witness people getting into fights, people getting beat up, right? But one thing I did not witness was somebody getting shot. And that was I would say that's a blessing for me. Because as a child, just seeing that happen in front of my face, imagine what that would have done to me. I would not be as functional as I am. Now, I'll probably just be a little bit more uptight and more rebellious. Okay. And you know what I'm saying? Your environment, going back to the concept about epigenetics, it causes you to develop a certain type of attitude. I'm gonna say this again. Y'all need to study epigenetics because that is real. Like the science behind it is so real. You talking about nature versus nurture. You talking about environment versus what is inherited. You know what I'm saying? So when you study these things, right, and you see that environment can play a part into your genes as far as like how it doesn't change your DNA, but how it affects your gene pool. You know what I mean? And basically how you start to develop certain type of attitude and start having certain type of characteristics, and you carry on certain pathology because you become the product of their environment. There's a saying go, you could take a person out the hood, but you can't take the hood out of them. That's real. You can't take the hood out of them. Now, a person can suppress it and probably just learn how to better manage themselves, but you cannot take the hood or the streets out that person because it becomes a part of their genome. It becomes a part of them. It sticks with them. You just learn how to code switch or you learn how to be better at it. But you can't get it out of you. You can't get it out of you, especially if it gets to a point where you get mad at somebody and somebody done piss you off onto the edge, right? Or tried you and try to get that character out of you, it's gonna come out. Shout out to Big Cree Money. What's up, Big Cree Money? Shout out to you. You can't get it out of you. You can't get that. It's gonna come out. You know, you cannot let it go. You can't not, it's not going to die. You know what I'm saying? So we have to learn how to code switch. That's why when you got people who have been involved in the gang or been involved in the streets, right? Or been in prison, they have to learn how to rejuvenate themselves into society, right? Especially the ones that's been in prison, they have to learn how to really reconfigure themselves and how to uh deal with living a civilian life, or living as what they would like to call the square life. They have to learn how to get used to doing regular things because they're so used to being in an environment where they're confined and being around different characters and multiple personality traits, and they start picking up on certain things. So you cannot expect when a person come out of prison to be the same individual that you knew before they went to prison. Again, that plays a part in the epigenetic because the gene pool starts to switch up. The genome, it switches up. It's like a light taking place. That light cuts on and it cuts off. It cut on, cut off. Centavo said your behavior and habits due to environment trauma will be passed down. Hold on. Yeah, your behavior and habits due to environment and trauma will be passed down as traits to your children. That's for sure. Oh, most definitely. Most definitely, yes. Yes, your kids gonna pick up your traits. And this is why, as women, when you pregnant, you have to be careful of certain things you do and certain behavior that you have because you could pass it down to your kids. That is real. They call that transgenerational epigenetic. That's what it's called, transgenerational epigenetics. Okay. One of these days, I'm gonna deal with the topic about epigenetics alone and just deal with that subject. Okay, because that's some deep science. That's some deep science. You sit there and you just be like, damn. As a matter of fact, I have a book on it. I have a book by Richard C. Francis. It's called The Ultimate Mystery of Inheritance, Epigenetics. Okay. And like I said, this book right here, it goes into all of that. All right. So make sure if you don't get a chance to get this book, Epigenetics, Richard C. Francis. And I also recommend another book. Let's see. All right, so there's a book called The Epigenetic Revolution: How Modern Biology is Rewriting by Nessa Carey. But you guys need to look into another book, and then I'm gonna go back to the subject matter. Okay, so when you guys get a chance to, man, y'all better start looking into these subject matter. Y'all better get into some science for real, especially some social science, because they'll help you to understand about the world around you. So this book right here, it is called "It Didn't Start with You: How Inherited Family Trauma Shape Who We Are and How to End the Cycle." Mark Wolin. I mean, it's deep. It's a lot of science that goes into why we develop certain type of character. And once you start to study science, then you could be able to better understand street life. You can be able to understand urban life. Also, we got to start studying into urban psychology and urban sociology, because we'll get a better understanding of what it's like to deal with urban life, and why did we have the attitudes that we have, and why we how our environment play a factor into our personal lives and things of that nature. Okay. Well, now getting back to the point. All right, getting back to the point. So, anyways, let's go down to where it says his life of crime. So going back to Donnie Andrews, right? So Andrews became an armed robber who robbed drug dealers, but his code of ethics included never involving women nor children. He was known to police for armed robbery and drug dealing in the 1970s and early 80s in Baltimore. In 1986, local drug kingpin Warren Barley convinced Andrews, who needed to support his heroin addiction, and Reggie Gross to take the contract killing of Zachary Roach and Rodney Touche Young. Filled with guilt, Andrews surrendered himself to Ed Burns, a homicide detective with the Baltimore Police Department. Working with Burns, he agreed to wear a covert listening device, which he used to implicate Broadly and Gross in the killings. So in 1987, Andrews was sentenced to life in prison for two murders. He was denied parole on his first attempts, but continued to study in his addiction to heroin and help other inmates by running anti-gang workshop. While Andrews was in prison, Detective Burns introduced him to Fran Boyd, whose family was prominently featured in The Corner, A Year in the Life of an Inner City Neighborhood, a 1997 book by Burns and David Simon. Andrews and Boyd's first conversation came in January of 1993. When Boyd was still using drugs, Andrews encouraged Boyd to get clean. Andrews was paroled from prison in 2005. So he was incarcerated for a killing of an individual to support his heroin addiction. And he met a woman who was currently battling with drug addiction herself. And he encouraged her to get away from that. And he started to see some life changes going on. and he got paroled in 2005. It really pains me that when people get into the street life, they become addicted to drugs. Especially those who are well respected in the streets or in the professional fields. They'll go from being doctors, lawyers, big time drug dealers, even pimps, to becoming addicts. And you will find in many cases that the drug dealers get high off their own supplies. And then you have military veterans, when they come home, they'll start getting high to get their mind off of the tragic events that they had to encounter while they were away. I mean, being addicted to drugs is it's the worst thing that could happen to an individual, because you become very strange to your family. And your family has to suffer because of your action, because of your choices. And people don't realize, I mean, yes, you can blame the drugs, but you also have to blame the person who done the drugs too. That's the reality. So it's easy to say that the drugs made me do this, the drugs made me do that. Well, who was the person that was doing them? Because would the drug make you do this and do that if you have not done it? Have you not took those drugs? Have you not popped those pills? Have you not shoot that hammer up? Would it made you do these things or get engaged into all these different activities? Hmm? Or would those drugs would not have those effect if you stayed away from them? If you didn't mess with them in the first place. So what happens is it starts off as being recreational, right? Or it may start off as medication. Then it goes from medication to become a serious addiction, because now you expect to get the same feeling that you had before, to keep repeating over and over again. And then the result may not be the same. It may not be like how it was previously when you first started taking them. So it gets worse and get worse and get worse and get worse and get worse. And then not only that, the most tragic part about the most tragic thing about drugs is once you stop using and you start going into rehab, then there's like a permanent damage to your brain. Like not all your brain becomes damaged, but it's like a part of your brain suffers from a damage because of those effects from the drugs. It's like you don't become 100% yourself. You suffer from a mild damage to the brain, and that damage stays with you for the rest of your life, because your brain has become so addicted to the supplies and has been so used to it, to where now it can't go back and reconfigure it can't go back to its normal state. It can't function like it was once before. I mean, now going down to it says The Wire. So by 1998, Burns and Simon, as well as the lead prosecutor who obtained Andrews' conviction, began to lobby for Andrews' release from prison. While Andrews was in prison, Simon sent him copies of the newspaper, and Andrews gave Simon information about crimes taking place in Baltimore. Simon named Andrews a consultant on The Wire an HBO show about crime in Baltimore, which ran from 2002 to 2008. Simon used Andrew as one of the inspiration for the character Omar Little, a stick-up artist who never target innocent bystanders. Andrew was released from prison in 2005. He performed youth outreach after his release from prison. His foundation, Why Murder, attempted to steer children away from a life of crime. He portrayed Donnie on The Wire, an associate of Omar and his advisor Butchie. So Andrews and Fran Boyd married on August 11, 2007. Wedding guests include Simon and the Wire cast member Dominique West, Sonia Son, and Andre Royo. So Andrew suffered from eroded dissection. Mm. Oh dang, gee. From which he died on December 13, 2012 in Manhattan, New York. He was 58 years old. So he died on this date, on December 13th, which was 10 years ago. Okay. So today is his death anniversary, which is ironic that I did the video on today because I didn't know that he died today. I mean, on this date. Yeah, but he died 10 years ago, and this is his anniversary. And that's another thing. Now, I'm not saying I'm not getting ready to say that this is what was the cause of his death, but I will say this. Drugs, even though you stop using for a long time, can lead up to your death. You can stop using drugs for 10 years, and then you can end up with some serious health issues because of those years of the drugs that you done had in your system. Let's go on to the next information. Um, and here's the reference at the bottom of the page, right down here. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about Omar Little, right? Or Umar Little. So Umar Little, right? Which was based on the story about Donnie Andrews. If you know his character, right, which was played by the late Michael K. Williams, he grew up in Baltimore, grew up in the hood. He took care of his grandmother. She was a church going woman. Omar didn't believe in doing a lot of profanity, and he didn't believe in hurting innocent people. His main target was the drug dealers. That was his target. And other stick ups, people that was in the life of crime. Those were his targets. Okay. He didn't target women and children. All right, well, little small children, but he targeted those that was in the life of crime. And he believed in helping the community. He had a heart to help those that were in need. And also, Omar was a homosexual in the show. So that's the difference. So Donnie Andrew was a heterosexual man, whereas Omar was a homosexual man. He was a homosexual. He had boyfriends throughout the show, right? But towards the end, the one that he was involved with, he was killed. Okay. Now, if you guys watch the end of the show, right, Omar ended up getting killed himself by one of the drug dealers. He ended up getting killed. But yes, so that's pretty much the story of Omar Little. His whole thing was he was like the Robin Hood. If y'all know who Robin Hood was, steal from the rich and give to the needy. But he wasn't really necessarily stealing from the rich. He was stealing from drug dealers and giving to those that was in need. You know. But let's talk a little bit about Michael K. Williams. So Michael K. Williams was originally from New York. Um, and he seemed like he had a pretty rough life growing up. If y'all seen that long scar on his face, right? That was from an incident that he had. He was in a fight with somebody and someone took a knife and cut his face. And he also battled with drug addiction himself. He battled with serious drug addiction. And I read where during that time period when he did the show, um, The Wire, he was very poor and he was broke. He didn't really have any money. So the show, The Wire, was a great opportunity for him because it helped him financially. It helped him to get back on his feet. Yeah, but during that time period, even after the show ended, he ended up going into a state of depression and he was battling with serious drug addiction. He was battling with drug addiction. He couldn't get off of drugs. And that was like one of the leading cause of his death was drugs. So yeah, he was battling with some serious problems himself. But he was a wonderful actor. I would say this. He did a phenomenal job playing that character. And then Michael K, I think was it Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan at that time, he was a young boy. He was young as hell. He played on there. Idris Elba's played on there. I don't remember Idris Elba's playing. I don't remember seeing him on the show, but he was. So it was a great show. I done watched it a few times myself. I must say that it was a good show to watch. And like I said, Michael K. Williams was a very great actor. He did a phenomenal job with the character because he demonstrated how life was. How life is like being in the inner city, being in the ghetto, being in the projects, in the streets, being around all kinds of people, stick up folks, drug dealers, drug addicts, killers, muggers, whatever you name them. So I think that show did well. So before there was a ghost, before there was a power, before there was a BMF series, there was The Wire. There was The Wire. That was the show. The Wire. The Wire was um the precursor. It was the progenitors of all the other shows that came about, all these other series. Now, what's funny is after the show ended, it gained more popularity than it did when it was on air. Mm. So, yeah, let's just look at real brief the information on the wire. Yeah, let's look at real brief. All right, so now here's some information. I'm not gonna go in too much. Let's look this up. Bro, what is you talking about? Bro, will you that doesn't have anything to do with the subject, dominant man. You talking about domestic discipline is only a solution for disobedient women. What that has to do with the subject? What are you talking about? All right, anyhow, anywho. Okay, so The Wire is an American crime drama television series created and primarily written by author and former police reporter David Simon. The series was broadcast by the cable network HBO in the United States. The Wire premiered on June the 2nd of 2002 and ended on March the 9th, 2008. Compromising 60 episodes over 5 seasons, the idea for the show started out as a police drama loosely based on the experiencing of his writing partner Ed Burns, a former homicide detective and public school teacher. So, set and produced in Baltimore, Maryland, The Wire introduced a different institution of the city and its relationship to law enforcement in each season, while retaining characters and advancing storylines from previous season. The 5 subjects are in chronological order: illegal drug trade, the port system, the city government, bureaucracy, education and schools, and the print news medium. Simon chose to set the show in Baltimore because of his familiarity with the city. The large cast consists mainly of actors who are little known for their other roles, as well as numerous real life Baltimore and Maryland figures in guest and recurring roles. Simon has said that despite its framing as a crime drama, the show is really about the American city and about how we live together. It's about how institutions have an effect on individuals. Whether one is a cop, a longshoreman, a drug dealer, a politician, a judge, or a lawyer, all are ultimately compromised and must contend with whatever institution to which they are committed. So, The Wire is lauded for its literary themes, its uncommonly accurate exploration of society and politics, and its realistic portrayal of urban life. During its original run, the series received only average ratings and never won any major television award, but is now often cited as one of the greatest television series of all time. I'm going to say this. Sometimes shows ain't gotta always be a Emmy award show or the best Oscar shows and anything like that. That's not what it's all about. It's about being able to get the message. It's about being able to find something that people can relate to. And the show like The Wire was relatable to a lot of people, especially in the African American community. So I don't think people was focusing on so much of the Oscar and the Emmy. It was more so about, well, this is something I can watch. This is something I see every day in my backyard, in my front door. This is something I know that goes on around my school. This is something I know that goes on near my job. It's something that people can relate to. You know what I'm saying? It's not about, well, let's do this to impress the mainstream media to make them give us an Oscar. So that wasn't really the focus on the show. And shout out to the creator of the show because he was really trying to bring the authenticity of the life of Baltimore in this program. So I don't think his main focus was let's do this so we can just win an Oscar. No, let's tell a story. And that's exactly what he did. He told a story to his best of his ability. And he got people that was from the area, right? And some that wasn't from the area, people that wasn't well known, and brought them on the platform, put them on the show, and now those people end up gaining opportunity to work in movies and programs and having their own reality shows. So what I'm saying is the show like The Wire was organic. It was very organic. Okay. It wasn't some type of Hollywood cinema. No, it was very organic. It's something that started from the ground and worked its way up. And those people at that time, they were not well known actors. So you see the organic concept of this show. You wouldn't even really tell that it was fictional. You wouldn't even believe it was fictional because it was so relatable to people. So many people could relate to the storylines. So many people could relate to what it's like to grow up in the environment. So many people were connected with that show. So it had a lot of organic concept and ideology to it. It was very organic, right? All right, so going down here, it says during his time as a writer and producer for an NBC program, Homicide: Life on the Street, based on his book Homicide: A Year on the Killing Streets, also set in Baltimore, Simon had come into conflict with NBC network executives who were displeased by the show's pessimism. Simon wanted to avoid a repeat of these conflicts and chose to take The Wire to HBO because of their working relationship with the miniseries The Corner. HBO was initially doubtful about including a police drama in its lineup, but agreed to produce the plot episode. Simon approached the mayor of Baltimore, telling him that he wanted to give a bleak portrayal of certain aspect of the city. Simon was welcome to work there again. He hoped the show would change the opinions of some viewers, but said that it was unlikely to affect the issues it betrays. So then it goes on to talk about the casting. Okay. All right. So let's look at the casting. So it says the casting of the show has been praised for avoiding big name stars and using character actors who appear natural in their roles. Let's read that again. The casting of the show has been praised for avoiding big name stars. What did I say? They did not. When the creator started the show, the casting members, they weren't major stars. They didn't have a big name. Okay? They were people who had little that played in little independent movies. They were people that was coming off the streets. And also, what did it say is on what else it says? Check this out. Using character actors who appear natural in their roles. So, meaning that those individuals were able to develop the character of the people they were playing naturally. They didn't have to go through all these acting schools and try to act like somebody else. No, it came natural because they was able to naturally relate to those characters. And then goes on to say the looks of the cast as a whole have been described as defying TV expectation by presenting a true range of humanity on screen. Many of the cast are black, consistent with the demographic of Baltimore. Wendell Pierce, who plays Detective Bunk Moreland, was the first actor to be cast. Dominique West, who won the ostensible role or lead role of Detective Jimmy McNulty, sent in a tape he recorded the night before the audition deadline of his playing out a scene by himself. Lance Reddick received the role of Cedric Daniels after auditioning for the roles of Bunk and heroin addict Bubbles. Michael K. Williams got the part of Omar Little only after only a single audition. Again, so how did Michael K. Williams get that part? Because of one audition. He didn't do multiple auditions. He did the one audition and he got the role. Okay, but check this out. It says William himself recommended Felicia Pearson for the role of Snoop after meeting her at a local Baltimore bar shortly after she had served prison time for a second-degree murder conviction. Mm. So he brought in Snoop, and if y'all don't know who Snoop is, Snoop was the girl that played on the show, but she was on, I think she was on Love and Hip Hop LA reality show. Yeah, after a while, she started getting a little notoriety or whatnot. But yeah, she played on the show, and she's actually from Baltimore. All right. So she was given recommendation by Michael K. Williams to be on the show The Wire, and she got on there. So it says Little Melvin Williams, a Baltimore drug lord arrested in the 1980s by an investigation that Burns had been a part of, had a recurring role as a deacon beginning in the third season. Jay Landsman, a longtime police officer who inspired the character of the same name, played Lieutenant Dennis Mello. Baltimore Police Commander Gary DiArdoro, or DiArdoro, whatever, served as the series technical advisor for the first two seasons and had a recurring role as prosecutor Gary DiPacale. Simon shadowed DiArdo's shift when researching his book Homicide: A Year on the Killing Streets, and both DiArdoro and Landsman are subjects of the book. So it goes on to say more than a dozen cast members previously appeared on HBO first hour-long drama Oz. J.D. Williams, Seth Gillums, Lance Reddick, and Reggie E. Cathy were featured in very prominent roles in Oz, while a number of other notable stars of The Wire, including Wood Harris, Frankie Frazier, John Domin, Clark Peters, Dominic Labardozzi, or something like that. And he has like an Italian name. Michael Hyatt, Michael Potts, and Method Man appeared in at least one episode of Oz. Cast member Eric Dullum, Peter Garrity, Clark Johnson, Clayton Leboeuf, Tony Lewis, and Kelly Thorne also appear on Homicide: Life on the Street, the earlier and award-winning network television series also based on Simon's books. Lewis appeared on Oz as well. A number of cast members as well as crew members also appeared in the preceding HBO miniseries The Corner, include Clark Peters, uh, Reggie Cathy, Lance Reddick, Corey Parker Robinson, Robert F. Chu, Delaney Williams, and Benet Bigger or Burger. So, anyways, damn, hold on. So, anyways, getting back. So, again, these programs was this show was pretty much done organically. So the people that he hired on board, they were already working for the police department. They had experience in the law enforcement fields, and also the other ones they came from the streets. So they were able to relate to the characters, and I think that that was phenomenal. That was a phenomenal way of doing it, and I think that's the best way to do it. If you do a program that's dealing with drama, crime, you want to get people that can naturally relate to those characters, as opposed of getting somebody that don't have no idea or understand the lifestyle or know what it's like to grow up in that environment, and they have to go through all the training and classes and have to, develop themselves to play those roles, right? So it'll be best to get someone who, or people who actually know what it's like to be in the law enforcement field, know what it's like to be in the streets, know what it's like to be in the religious institution, and all these different things. So that makes the show what it is, because it shows the organic form, and that's what people look for when they watch something that's dealing with crime drama series. They look for the organic form of it. They look for something that is relatable to them. They want to see if the actors can bring out the characteristic that resemble those in their lives or the people that's in their environment. That's what people look forward to when they're watching a series, a drama series. How well can the character play their role, and do they have that connection with, how well can the actor play the role of the character, and do they have a connection with those the characters which they are playing? Do they have a connection with them? Do they feel that vibe? Do they understand? Yes, they did. They did a phenomenal job. I think it was very phenomenal. That was the best show. There might be some things that we don't like. Of course, you're gonna have some dislike on there, but overall, that was a phenomenal show. And as I mentioned, I'll say it again. It was very organic. It was very organic. Very organic. Um, So it goes down here to talk about the realism, right? Check this out. Watch this. Hold up, hold up. Watch this. It says the writers strove to create a realistic vision of an American city based on their own experience. Simon, originally a reporter for the Baltimore Sun, spent a year researching a homicide police department for his book, Homicide: A Year on the Killing Streets, where he met Burns. Burns served in the police department for 20 years and later became a teacher in inner city school. The two of them spent a year researching the drug culture and poverty in Baltimore for their book, The Corner, a year in the life of an inner city neighborhood. Their combined experiences were used in many storylines of The Wire. And it says central to the show's aim for realism was the creation of truthful characters. Simon has stated that most of them are composites of real life Baltimore figures. For instance, Donnie Andrews served as the main inspiration of Omar Little. Martin O'Malley served as one of the inspiration for Tommy Carcetti. The show often casts non-professional actors in minor roles, distinguishing itself from other television series by showing the faces and voices of the real city it depicts. The writing also used contemporary slang to enhance the immersive viewing experience. All right, and then it goes down to say what? And then watch this. Check this out. It says, while many of the police do exhibit altruistic qualities, many officers portrayed on the show are incompetent, brutal, self-aggrandizing, or hamstrung by bureaucracy and politics. The criminal are not always motivated by profit or a desire to harm others. Many are trapped in their existence and all have human qualities. Even so, the wire does not minimize or gloss over the horrific effects of their action. So, in other words, they give it to you raw in your face. They make it look so realistic. They make it look real. They make it look real to where you be like, damn. So what they saying right there, they're not sugarcoating it. They're not they're not dumbing it down. They're not dumbing it down at all. They showing you exactly this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. This is what it is. All right. The show is realistic in depicting the process of both police work and criminal activity. There have even been reports of real life criminals watching the show to learn how to counter police investigation techniques. Uh-oh. How to encounter police investigation? Real life criminals? Hmm. It gets deep, don't it? It says the fifth season portrayed a working newsroom at the Baltimore Sun and was described by Brian Lowry of Variety magazine in 2017 as the most realistic portrayal of the media in film and television. So, in a December 2006 Washington Post article, local black students said that the show had hit a nerve with the black community and that they themselves knew real life counterparts of many of the actors or the characters. The article expressed great sadness at the toll drugs and violence are taking on the black community. All right. So I mean, pretty much, if you guys want to come and read more into this about the show, The Wire, whatnot, you can look it up on Wikipedia. But just to pretty much show you how the show was outlined and how the creativity and the writing, the process, the production took place. Oh, you know what? I need to, speaking of production, let me look at how much they grossed as far as income. Let's look up the gross earning of The Wire. Hmm. Okay, so let me see. It doesn't say. Hmm. Let me look on here. I'm trying to find a network. So basically, it shows. So the website I'm on, it shows how much the actors were making, right? But it don't show how much the show have gross as far as their income is concerned. What's the gross income or what's the network? You know, the net pay or whatnot. It doesn't show that on here. I'm not able to find it for whatever reason. But it says the cast of The Wire's net worth. The Wire is an amazing television series, and here is the net worth of the fantastic cast and of actors who starred in the critically acclaimed show. So it just shows how much these individuals are making. Okay, right? It shows how much they made. Um, but it doesn't. Well, look at Michael B. Jordan. He a little young and he had a little braids in his hair. See, I didn't know that Idris Elba played in this show. That's funny. Didn't even know that. But but yeah, that's all I see as far as the cast net worth. But I don't know how much the show had made all together. Okay, so but if it didn't get that much raised during that time period, then it probably didn't gross that much income. You know what I'm saying? If it didn't get that much ratings, so it's like the more ratings you have, the more money that you make. But if you have less rating, then you'll make less money. All right. Oh, I can look at how much. Let me see. Let me see something. Let me see the budget. I'm trying to find it. Hmm. 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 Well, let me see something on here. I'm trying to see if I can find how much the budget was for the show. Hmm. Mm, it doesn't say. It really doesn't say at all. It don't say. It don't say how much it costs to uh bring the production. It don't say anything about the. Okay, so all right. So unfortunately, I can't find that either. So I was trying to look up information as far as how much the budget was to start the show, as far as to get the production together, get the crew member, and all of that, and how much the show was making per year. So, um, yeah, I couldn't even find those information on there. So, but anyways, that's all I have for you guys. I want to thank you all for tuning in, watching. Let me see if there's any comments. Give me a moment. Okay, so that's pretty much everybody in the chat. So shout out to Norman, shout out to Big Creek Money, shout out to Centavo. Thanks to everybody that tuned in watching. I appreciate you guys' support. I appreciate y'all being on here watching this channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And check out my previous videos that I posted up. So you guys be on the lookout for that. Check out, well, not be on the lookout, but check out those videos that I had previously posted on YouTube. What I was supposed to say is look out for the next video that I'm going to do. So I keep you guys posted. I'll let you guys know what the title is, the name, and the sources that I'll be using, whatnot. All right. So, anyways, I hope you all have a good one. I hope you all be safe and be careful out here. And till next time, I will connect with y'all. So, peace and power and elevation be to all you beautiful folks out there. This your girl Tiffany, and I'm logging off with the deuces sign. You know how we do it in the A, we say deuces. Throw up them deuces. So I'm throwing up the deuces on y'all. And I'm about to go ahead and I'm about to just chill out. All right. Um, yeah, if y'all ain't never got a chance to see the show The Wire, make sure y'all watch it. If y'all ain't seen that show. Okay. If y'all ain't seen the show, look out for it. Just be on the watch. Okay. Just I think it's still on HBO. So yeah, go on HBO Max and you can look it up. Yeah, just put in The Wire and you'll find the show. All right. All right then, y'all take it easy, man. Bro, talk. Love y'all. Peace out.